If you're going to Ninh Binh and wondering what you should do while you're there, if you love pagodas, mountains, caves, temples, and beautiful rivers with incredible landscape, then stay tuned to see all the things that you can do here. Our first stop on our first night was the Phoko Hualu Temple. This is in the middle of Ninh Binh on a lake and has a really romantic, mystical night vibe. The atmosphere here is really crazy. It's super well lit. There's some wonderful background music. There weren't too many people when we went there because we went during the week. And I have to say the temple is one of the most incredible temples I've ever been to, especially the interior. Now, this was not as big as many of the other temples, but personally I found the intricate artwork on the inside, the sculpting, absolutely amazing. These relief sculptures are really interesting and they depict various Buddhist stories from the past. There is so much to see here and look at. It really is an amazing place to spend your time. Now, this whole area is basically like an ancient town, and this particular temple is called the Silver Pagoda. Now, outside the Silver Pagoda, you have the next temple that you can reach by walking up a long flight of stairs, through the cliffs, through the plants, various deities on the way to the top. It's really another mystical adventure up the mountain. Now, needless to say, this is only for people who are pretty good on their feet because it's not that far up, to be honest, but it is still quite a few stairs. And when you get to the top, you are rewarded with this cute little pagoda and a view of Ninh Binh. But the coolest part of it all was ringing the bell. Now, of course, this is Vietnam, and so food is never far away. Just across the river, there's a whole line of stalls with all kinds of delicious foods, from sweets to snails to barbecued meat to corn dogs. There was even an ice cream stand selling this viral ice cream that makes you look like a dragon, apparently, liquid nitrogen ice cream. Now, sometimes Yang doesn't need liquid nitrogen to be a little dragon, but here it was very cute. Okay, let's get back on track. Let's look at all the rest of this delicious food. Now, you can have pretty much anything you want here. You just point at it, they'll barbecue it, and then you can eat it. After trying all kinds of delicious foods, we decided to go home and have an early night because the next day we were off on the next adventure. Now, the second thing that I would definitely recommend to do is go and check the Dragon Mountain and Mua Caves.
The Mua Cave.
Mua Cave?
Yeah.
Okay, Mua Cave, okay.
Or Hang Mua.
Hang Mua.
Now, if you watched our last video, you will see that we were staying really close to this place, and the place that we were staying, the Airbnb, actually had their own tour guide that you could book, and this is the guy who took us here. It was very good. We really enjoyed it, and look at this amazing view that we got of the mountains. Little did we know we want to climb to the top of one of these mountains. We didn't expect it to be so high, but you know, adventures must be had, and so we decided to take the 500 or so steps up the mountain. Now, believe me, I am one of the laziest people that exist, and so if I can do this, pretty much anybody else can do this as long as they can walk easily. Yang did this in a dress and flip-flops, and I promise you, when you get to the top, you will definitely be rewarded with some of the most incredible views that you can get in Ninh Binh. Now, I must reiterate, we were really unlucky with the weather, and even though this like mystical, forlorn style is also interesting to see, I'm sure if it was sunny, it would have been even more amazing. Now, after 500 steps back down, you can then go to the Mua Caves. This is also a historic cave with some stories about how the old emperor came down here with his dancing girls, and the dancing girls danced inside the cave. Didn't quite get the whole story, but it is very cool to go inside these tunnels. We saw somebody who had a head cracked open because he got up too quickly in here, so make sure you keep ducking, but it is very cool. Personally, I think the coolest part is when you walk out into this part. You just feel like it's Jurassic Park or something. Feels like a T-Rex or some velociraptors are about to burst forth from the vegetation, but luckily we were not assaulted by any such creatures, and we were able to move on to our next location.
So we went to the top of the mountain, 500 steps, and total went up and down 1,000 steps, right? Imagine. Now my legs are shaking now.
Now indeed, we definitely got our steps in this day. But after a quick transfer with our guide, we were already at the Baidan temple entrance, and you get ferried away in these little carts all the way to the actual temple. And this is a very big temple. In fact, it's multiple temples in one area with loads and loads of statues. It's very, very interesting. Different pagodas with giant golden Buddhas. Very, very impressive. Now, no trip to this area in Ninh Binh would be complete without a visit to Trang An. This is probably one of the most famous activities here, and that is going on these boats and experiencing the true beauty of Vietnam. It's absolutely spectacular. Again, the weather could have been better, but we still had a fantastic lady rowing us around. She was super strong. We went through all of these really cool different caves. There were stalactites and stalagmites and low ceilings. It was really safe, very safe, but also felt super adventurous. Now, there were also multiple locations along this route with different temples that you can visit. We chose a slightly shorter route because, to be honest with you, for us, if you've seen 4 temples, you've kind of seen them all. I personally just wanted to see the clarity of the water, the lush greenery, these huge cliffs rising up from the ground. You really feel like you were on another planet or maybe a different time. And this is actually where King Kong, the movie, was shot. I really found this water temple to be so cool, right in the middle of the lake with these huge cliffs behind it. And if you're really, really lucky, you might see a special performance here. Not quite my taste in music, but it was definitely a cool experience to see. Now, you can see from the speed of movement how quickly she was rowing. It's actually impressive. And we went through multiple other tunnels. Some of them a bit bigger, some of them a bit smaller. All of them were lit quite well inside. There was all this sparkly material on the walls in certain places, minerals, deposits. I'm sure if you're into rocks and stuff, this would be a dream trip. But we found it really amazing, even though we have no clue about geology. And it was just cool to be going under all of these different rocks, and it just was very adventurous, basically. And finally, coming out into the open air once again, you're always met with these huge towering cliffs. And that's it. That's what I would suggest that you guys do if you're around in this area. As I said, we stayed in the Airbnb nearby, which was really cool. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and hopefully see you in the next review. See you then.